All right, so from our Pythagorean triple talk, we have some challenge questions. So again, just to remind ourselves, we can use the Pythagorean theorem if we don't remember any specific Pythagorean triple. We can use our 30, 60, 90. We can use our 45, 45, right? We do have a couple Pythagorean triples, right? The 3, 4, 5, 5, 12, 13, 9, 40, 41, 7, 24, 25, 8, 15, 17, 11, 16, 61. Again, the smaller of the two numbers are always our sides, and the largest number is always the hypotenuse. And again, we're only using 3 integers. That's the really key aspect of that. If it's not an integer, it's not a Pythagorean triple. So go ahead, take a moment and pause the video and try to do these 5 challenge questions. All right, so hopefully you paused the video. You notice that there wasn't a lot of numbers, right? So they're all variables. So again, if this is x, that means that this side will also be x, and then this is x root 2, right? If this is your 30 degrees, that means that this will be 2y, and this will be, oops, not 6, sorry. And this will be y root 3. Okay, you should have noticed the 4 and the 3, even though there's an x. So again, remember that we can multiply by any number, which means that the hypotenuse will be 5x. Again, here's your 5 and 12, which means this is a 5, 12, 13. So this will just be 13x, right? Still using our same values. Now this one's a little tricky, right? Here's your hypotenuse x. Our 30 degrees is always half of whatever your x is. So we can just say that this is x over 2, right? Or we could say 0.5 times x. Either one is perfectly fine. If we used the fraction, we would have said x root 3 all over 2. Or we would have said 0.5 x root 3, right? I personally like the fraction just a little bit better. Kind of helps break up the decimal, all right? All right, so let's do part 2 of challenge questions. So I just have 3 more challenge questions. So what I want you to do on these is I want you to calculate the perimeter and the area. All right, so 2 things. If it has a radical, let's keep it in exact form. So we'll say exact form for your perimeter. And I guess also for area. So we can say exact form in case there's a radical also in our area. So go ahead, again, pause the video. Let's see what happens. Okay, so coming back, let's look at 6. So we actually know that this is, we have some tick marks. So I actually know that this is 6, this is 6. There's a lot of 6's here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my perimeter is 5 times 6, which gives me 30. And we can just use 30 inches, or we can use the double. It looks like a double, like a quotation mark. Now for our area, so let's go ahead and break this up. So go ahead and I'm going to break up this, and I'm also going to cut my 60-degree triangle into 2. So if I did that, what I basically just did was I made this your 30 degrees. So this means that this would be your 6, which means that this would be your 3, and then this would be your 3 root, not 3, sorry, 3 root 2. 3 root 3, okay? So the first thing I want to do, I have my area, so I'm going to call this area number 1, area number 2, and area number 3. So area number 1 is easy. I'm just going to say 6 times 6. So area number 1 is 6 times 6, which gives you 36. And then area number 2 will be your base times your height, so 3 times 3 root 3. So this will give you 9 root 3. All right, and then we're going to divide that by 2 because area is half of the base times height. So that's the area for the second one. And the area for the third one is exactly the same thing. So it'll be 9 root 3 divided by 2. So essentially, right, if you add those pieces together, right, your 2's will eventually cancel out. So we're going to add all these together. So you get 18 root 3 divided by 2, which ultimately just gives you 9 root 3. So the area total will be 36 plus 9 root 3, and this time it'll be inches squared. So there's our perimeter, and there's our area for our very first one. All right, so now let's go to the second challenge question. All right, so second one, let's do it in red. And so I'm going to go, actually, you know what? I'm going to redraw this picture right here to the best of my ability. Okay, what do I know? I know that this is a 45, then this is 6 root 2 centimeters. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this away. So I break it up into 2 pieces. All right, so I have everything, 45, excellent. All right, so let's scroll down so I have a little bit more space. Okay, so if this is 45, this will also be 45. So this is, so if this is 6 root 2, this is like saying 6 root 2 is equal to x root 2, your hypotenuse. Your root 2's are going to cancel each other out, leaving you with 6. So that means that this is 6 and this is 6. Okay, and if we notice these tick marks, right, this is going to be a square, which means that this will also be 6. So all of these places are going to be 6. So in order to find my perimeter, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 6's. So that'll be 24 plus this hypotenuse. So 6 root 2 centimeters. Okay, my area. So my area for number 1 and number 2. So area for number 1 would be 6 times 6, which gives you 36. Area for 2 will be 6 times 6, but then divided by 2, which should be 18. Okay, and so my area will be 36 plus 18, which should give you 54 centimeters squared. So this time your perimeter was an exact answer. We could have had an approximate answer, but your area this time is purely just an integer. So that's nice. All right. Let's go ahead and do our very last one. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this right here, which means if this is 3, this will also be 3. Hopefully you notice 3, 5 as your hypotenuse, because this is a right triangle, which means that this is 4. And if this is 8, this is 8. Okay, so finding the perimeter. So I have 2 8s. So I have 16. And then I have 3 plus 4, so that's 7. Plus 5. So 16 plus 5 is 21. And 21 plus 7 should be 28. And this is 28 feet, so we can, with just one little tick mark. In order to find the area, so again, I'm going to call it area 1 and area 2. So area number 1 will be 3 times 8, so 24. Area 2, right, is 4 times 3 divided by 2. So 4 times 3 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So our total area should be 30 feet squared. Okay, so again, using our Pythagorean triples and our special right triangles in order to now find the area and perimeter of these composite functions.